Hey friends, welcome to my garden and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stopping back by. And if you're brand new here, please say hello to me in the comments and let me know what state or country you're coming in from so I can welcome you and say hello back. So we're standing inside of my hot tunnel. Today we're doing a weekly harvest. And so we're harvesting things about every other day, a little bit here and there. And then once a week, we kind of come out here and just try to clean out everything and get a main harvest. And again, very different as we're kind of moving from the summer to the fall. We still have produce that's still coming in on a summer basis. And at the same time, we're in the house prepping fall seeds and getting ready to put those out in the next couple of weeks. But right now, I also want to kind of take you through a tour of how everything is looking in the garden as well, and what it looks like the last week of August in the summer gardening season. So again, I'm in Tennessee. I'm in zone 7B. So if you're in my zone, that is great. If not, then you may have a little bit more time than me, or you may have already been wrapping up a little bit more than me. But I think wherever you are, we can officially say that fall is probably on the way sometime next month. Now in zone 7B, I have the pleasure of having a long growing season. So we're able to do several successions of crops because our growing season is over 100 days in length. And so we can do squash 2 or 3 times. We can do cucumbers 2 or 3 times. And if you've been watching me, you see that we've already done that 2 or 3 times. So today we're going to start in the hot tunnel and just see what we can harvest. But also I'll take you around and let you see what the garden is looking like this last week of August. Okay, I'm going to start in the back and work my way up. Usually I start in the front, but today we're going to start in the back. So you can see here on the right side, if I pan across, this is where we have our in-ground space in our hot tunnel. Our hot tunnel is 30 by 96. We have 5 rows here that are 45 feet long in the back of the tunnel. You can see that on the far right row, that row is completely empty. We had all tomatoes there and we pulled all of those up because of pest and disease. Then this row here, closer to the aisle, you can see we've pulled out everything except these 2 tomato plants. So we've kind of been gradually doing it. As they had pest and disease, we started pulling them out. And now we're down to these last 2 tomato plants. Again, so when we did the major, taking things out, we ripped out everything, the majority of the stuff that was damaged by pests, and then things that were still looking good, we kept. And we've just been doing that every week. And now we're down to just these 2 left. We cleared out everything else last week. We cleared out the eggplant. We cleared out the basil that was in this row. And we left this one marigold, this tomato plant, and that tomato plant. And I'll show you, my husband just harvested 2 beautiful tomatoes off of this plant right here. So while it's still producing, we kept it. And it looks to be okay for right now. But as soon as it's not okay, we'll just pull it out. We cannot complain. We did have a good tomato season. Not necessarily as good as the one we had last year, but I was able to at least can and preserve 15 quarts of spaghetti sauce, so that should get us throughout the year. We also made salsa. We have that in the freezer, and we also have tomato soup in the freezer. So we cannot complain. We definitely was able to preserve, and we've eaten a ton of tomatoes fresh on salads and sandwiches and things like that. So even though it wasn't as good as last year, we still had a very decent tomato season. Now let me take you over to the other side and let you see the other 3 rows that we have, which are mainly peppers. So the 3 rows on this side are mostly peppers. You see my husband, he is harvesting. We'll definitely show you what he's harvesting. He is in his element. The one thing he loves to do is to harvest. And oddly enough, that's not like my favorite thing in the garden. I like to harvest, but hey, if I don't have to, that's perfectly fine. I love to plant and see things growing, fertilize, and just make sure everything is okay. And so I let him, whenever he's out here, I let him have the joy of harvesting all of the food. But you can see we have peppers. Some of them are on the ground. These first 2 rows are bell peppers. Let me see if I can give you a good shot. You can see what we have going on here. I don't even know if you can see this, but let me just pull one off. So this is a bell pepper. This is a yellow. I can see that it's starting to blush just a little bit at the bottom. So we'll take that in the house. You can see it. Now we have struggled with our peppers in the greenhouse, which has never happened in the 5 years that I've been gardening. This has not been the best pepper year at all. And I really don't even know what to attribute it to, because we've had issues with our peppers outside, but also in the greenhouse. It's under protected culture, so I'm not sure what happened. But this is one of the biggest ones that we've had so far. They started off very small, and they kept getting either sun scald or eaten by pest or disease or something like that, which I've never had with my peppers. And so here lately, over the last couple of weeks, they have been doing better. So they're getting bigger and sizing up. They're taking a while to blush and to turn yellow. So everything out here I planted was either a yellow, red, or orange bell pepper. And so some of the ones I pulled a couple weeks ago were just all green. Even though I don't really care for green bell peppers because they're not as sweet as the colored ones, I was pulling them just so that I would have some peppers, because as soon as they would blush, they would just get eaten or sun scald. But these ones I have been letting stay on the vine. And so they look better. You can see this turning just a little bit there, but they definitely look better. And even though this is not as huge as they normally are, this is much bigger than what I've been getting all summer. Peppers usually are a little bit later to the game, and they usually will last far past tomatoes. So I'm going to let these hang out probably for another 2 to 3 weeks, and we're going to hope that we can get some bigger ones, and hopefully they will blush and we get some colored bell peppers. Right now, these plants are loaded with, I shouldn't say loaded. They have quite a bit of peppers on them, more so than what they've had all summer long. But right now, all of them are green. On the next row behind it, we have jalapeno peppers. I think my husband's picking those. And then let me take you over to the very last row. So on this last row, my basil has gone absolutely wild. We've pruned, we've cut, we've done all the things. But this right here is just regular Italian basil. And this right here is lemon basil. It has just turned into a bush almost, and we just let it. We got some marigolds down on the ground here. And then right here was our first succession of cucumbers. They did great until they didn't. So we pulled all of those up, and we did a second set of cucumbers that's outside. You'll see that. And we've been able to harvest probably 3 or 4 so far. They just kind of came in last week. So we'll see if we have more out there today. So all of this is empty. We did try doing a succession of black beans here, all along here, to replace the cucumbers, but some animal got them, and so they never made it. And so by the time they did make it, we didn't have time to plant anymore because they take a little bit longer. I don't know if you can see through here, but we do have some peppers, like I said, on the other side of this thing. Okay, so now for the raised beds. Like I said, we have 2 metal raised beds. These beds are from Vego Garden. Love, love, love Vego Garden. There is a discount code if you're interested. Metal raised beds are definitely one of my favorites. I prefer them over the wooden raised beds for sure. But this is sage growing here. You can see we have plenty of it. I need to come in and harvest this as well so I can freeze dry it. And then across here we have our eucalyptus tree. If you didn't see the video where we harvested, I know it doesn't look like it, but we did harvest a ton of eucalyptus last week. And then this is our comfrey plant there. And then we have, like I said, 6 raised beds. We have 3 on this side and then 3 on that side. So let's start over here. This bed right here is where we had our spring potatoes. Then after the potatoes, we planted green beans in here, as well as some flowers. We also had snapdragons in the back. You can see it is staying alive. You can see it's trying to bud right there. But we've cut it down several times, and she keeps growing back, which is great. I see we have some green beans here. My husband will come over and get when he's harvesting. We have harvested quite a few green beans. And so that's all left in this bed, are green beans. We have a couple of flowers in the back, and that's mainly it. This bed here is where we had all of our flowers. It was our pollinator patch. We had zinnias, sunflowers, celosia. It was completely full of flowers, but all the flowers were diseased and looking bad, so we pulled all of this up. So this will be one of the first beds that we plant for the fall. It's already been topped with compost. It just needs to be amended with some fertilizer, and it's good to go. We'll lay the drip lines back down, and it'll be good to go. This bed here was mainly our herb bed, and we had herbs in here and celery and lavender. You see the lavender is still back there growing strong. We do have another eucalyptus tree right there. Our parsley, I just cut this back the other day, and then some chives we cut back. I'm gonna leave them in here and just see. I think they'll do fine over the fall and winter. And then we have a squash and zucchini plant that we just planted last week. That's our third succession of squash and zucchini. So we popped some in there. And then there is a jalapeno plant that has some jalapenos on it as well. On this side, in this bed was our peppers that were non-spicy. So you can see here, and the peppers in this bed did not do well at all. Now they seem to be doing a little bit better once we took out a lot of the things and gave it some space. But that's not Ajvarsky there waiting to turn red. We also have I think this is a poblano plant that we have in here. He's already harvested those. I'll show you those. We have a bell pepper plant, and you can see these bell peppers. That looks good. I'm just waiting for it to turn. It has like 2 or 3 on it. And look, that is huge. That is huge. Then I see some more. Oh, wow. There's another one right down there. And of course, more basil, plenty of basil. We even have a couple of eggplants growing right there, which is great. Moving over to this other bed is our Roma tomatoes. We've harvested quite a few from them. We've just waiting for them to blush. And then we also have another eggplant in here that we can harvest today. So that looks good. And then the rest of this bed, we had some herbs. We have some jalapeno peppers planted back here. That's holy basil or tulsi. Another Roma plant. You can see the hornworms definitely got that, but we still have a couple of tomatoes that we're waiting to blush, and then we'll pull that one out. And then we have another squash or zucchini plant that we popped in right there. It's part of our, y'all, my husband calls himself the chief harvest. My husband calls himself the chief harvester, but I'm coming behind him and I'm seeing stuff. He about to lose his certification. We just spotted an eggplant through the shadows. Let's see what it looks like. I hope it's good.
It's good.
Look at that. Oh, she's pretty. That looks good. I didn't even know that was back there.
It's hiding, man.
Man, that looks good.
It's hiding.
Okay, there's another one right here, honey. And there's some tomatoes that's blushing right in there. Right there.
Oh, I see it.
Okay, so the last bed in the high tunnel, well, we have some comfrey right there. This is another eucalyptus that we did from seed. And then this bed here is all of the spicy peppers. I see another little eggplant forming there. Basil, and then a whole bunch of spicy peppers. We have serranos in here and jalapenos and cayenne. I think my husband has already harvested in this area, but growing wild, and they've been doing good. This bed has been doing good all season long. It's all kind of jumbled up in here, but they are thriving and doing okay. So overall, let me show you what we've harvested so far just from in here. We have a whole basket full of goodies. So we have, look at these beautiful tomatoes from the 2 tomato plants that we left. Look, that is near perfect. Near perfect. Is perfect. There's another one. Perfect. And then we have some Romas. We have some poblanos. We have jalapenos. We have 2 eggplant. We have, what else? Green beans. So a perfect little size basket of goodies. Now let's go to the outside garden. Now, it never ceases to amaze me, especially peppers. Like, peppers are always, when I say late to the game, like when everything else is dying, they decide to like, hey, don't count me out. They always do it every single year. And so I want to just say, if you've had some stuff in your beds that hasn't been doing quite well and you haven't pulled it up and it's not riddled by disease and pests and it's still green and still looking good, give it some fertilizer. Just see if it'll produce something for you. Like, I'm telling you, these bell peppers in the raised bed, I didn't even know they were there. And like the eggplant, I've only harvested probably a total of 5 eggplant. They have not produced a ton. What they have produced have been good, but it's been very low. It hasn't been highly productive. But now we just harvested 2 and I see like 4 more coming, which is still not a ton. I would not call that prolific, but I was really counting the eggplant out like, okay, you look kind of bad. I don't think you're going to do anything else, because for weeks I had not had any. And so now I see them coming back, which is interesting. The green beans, I've only done what I would consider a few green bean plants, but we have been consistently harvesting green beans. Every week I've been able to put at least a half gallon or gallon size bag up in the freezer. Every single week. We've never been able to do that. So even though the summer is dwindling and some stuff didn't go right, y'all, we are still harvesting food. And it never ceases to amaze me how some things they're like, okay, I haven't done anything all summer, and then they pop up and they're like, look, I'm here. I'm here and I'm gonna produce. So, but now we're in the outside garden. And this space, again, we've taken out things that have been riddled with pest and disease and things that have not gone well. So let me just take you around and show you what we have left, and give you a garden tour of this area and how things are looking. Okay, this first row here is our corn. It is looking good, and it is almost near ready. This is our second succession of corn. We did one big corn harvest, and for the first time, we did a second succession. We've never done that before. And so we're trying it, and it looks like they're almost ready. Some of them already have some of the brown tasseling, but then we have others that have not brown yet. They still look a little, what I would call thin, like they're not fully plumped up and pollinated, is the best way I know how to explain it. And I don't know why that is. I'm gonna give it the rest of this week and see what happens. Yeah, because even though I see like the brown, they're not nearly as plumped up as the ones we had before. I've been trying to shake this to help with pollination, which I've never done that before, but I don't know. They look good, but they're not as big as they were from the first succession, even though we have some of the brown tasseling. And so you kind of know when corn is ready when the tassels have turned brown and dried out. And then also you can test one of the kernels and see if milk or the yellow cream or the white cream comes out of it. I haven't tested any, but I'm gonna give it a few more days and see what happens. Here's our okra. We have 12 okra plants. They have been doing well, even though they don't look the best. They have been producing well. We're probably getting maybe 10 or 15 a day. So we have some that are ready to be picked. Then these are more Vego garden beds. This is one of the things, if you're new here, what we did, you can see kind of like this whole row. Y'all, it looks so good. It is coming together more than I even imagined. Let me tell you how this row came to be. I love it. I still need a name for her, but I love this row of raised beds. So let me tell you about the evolution of this space right here. So if you've been following me, you know kind of how things have evolved over my 5-year gardening journey. If you're new here, I don't want you to think that I started off gardening 5 years ago and I had all this. It has progressed and evolved over time. When we first did this outside garden space, I think we did it in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the 3rd year we've planted it. We did a 20 by 100, so it's 2,000 square feet. The very following year, we added 20 more feet to make it 4,000 square feet. And then last year, I was like, I need some more space. But as my husband said that I would, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna need more space. When we made it 40 by 100, he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, that's plenty of space. I'm not gonna need any more. He's like, you're gonna ask me for more space? I'm like, no, I'm not. Well, I needed more space, but I'm like, to add more space means we're going to have to do a new fence, till some more, put more land. Like, it was going to be a whole ordeal. And I was like, well, how can I get more space without a whole ordeal at this very moment? And I came up with the idea of putting me a raised bed row on this extra part right here. And so I said in the video, when I came up with this idea, I said, you know what? I can't do it all at one time, but slowly but surely, I'm just gonna buy one raised bed at a time and fill this up so where this whole row down here will be raised beds. And that gave me more space. So this was a much more cost-effective way to add space to grow more food than me tilling, building a fence, buying more landscape land and going further out that way. This was a way that I could use the space that I already had and just put the raised beds in here. So we started off with one raised bed, which is that blue one down there. And then we slowly but surely added in these other ones over the last year. And y'all, I'm looking at it now and it's like coming into focus. It's coming into focus. I love it so, so much. But anyway, let me go back to the tour. This bed right here. Again, I have a Vego garden code on my page. If you want, you get an extra, I think it's $10 off or 5%, but there's a code in the description box. I love Vego Garden. Their quality, their products are so quality. Like, I can't say enough good things. But in this bed, we have jalapeno peppers. Y'all, these plants right here, all of these were clearance plants. I bought these and they looked bad. I want to say I got them for maybe 75 cents. Like, they looked bad. They were yellow. They were green. It was like straggly looking. But look at them now. Look at them now. I tell you, if you want to grow food, there is no excuse. You don't have to have all this land that I have. You can have one raised bed. You can have a couple of pots. Where there is a will, there is a way. And if you don't have a lot of money, you can hit those nurseries up when they have clearance plants, when they're trying to get rid of them like in June, and they're like, nobody's buying. They will cut you a deal. They will have them marked down. These plants, literally, y'all, they were like 75 cents a piece, and they looked rough. If you were here, you know they looked rough. But look at them now. They're green and lush, and they are hanging. Look at this jalapeno. Hanging with jalapenos that my husband's about to come down here and get. And then on the back side of this bed, I planted green beans. So I have green beans. Let's see if I have any more. Oh yeah, I see them. They're hanging back there. So that's this bed. These plants look so good. All they needed was some attention. I gave them some attention and they started producing. Now, it wasn't immediate. They were looking bad for a minute. And I was about to count them out. But I kept working with them, just watering, fertilizing, and they turned beautiful. So I just say that to encourage you. Okay. So my husband got plenty of jalapenos to come down here and get, and some green beans. Let me take you down here and let you see the rest of the beds. You can see there's green beans all down here. The jalapenos just hanging everywhere. Now, the rest of these beds are our potatoes, our fall planting of potatoes. I see that I have some potatoes sprouting right there. There's another one right there. This bed got planted last. But I see I have more potatoes sprouting up here. So we planted these about, I think these two beds about a week ago. And then this bed here, it might have been a couple of weeks since we've done this one. And you can see I have more potatoes popping up here. These are Yukon Gold potatoes and red Adirondack potatoes. So these beds here are all potatoes. So in these beds before in the spring, we had our onions. So again, we flipped the beds when the onions were out and then we saved it for potatoes. So y'all, again, by me adding these raised beds, it gave me the ability to grow more, just like that. There's always a way to grow more if you want to grow more. So this row is doing great, no issues there. Let me take you around and show you the rest of this garden out here. This row beside the okra and the corn are mostly jalapenos, or a spicy pepper row. So we have jalapenos. Again, these plants were looking rough as well, but now they are doing so much better. So mainly this whole row. And then here is a squash. Now this is our second succession of squash. You can see that we have some flowers here. So we should have squash, I would say, in the next couple of weeks or so. Now I'm consistently picking off squash bug eggs still, but I'm hoping and praying that we do get squash out of this. The ones that you saw in the greenhouse was the third succession of squash. You can see those are smaller. This right here is the second succession. So these are these are cayenne pepper plants. So this whole row is a spicy pepper row. This row right here, this entire row was tomatoes. We just pulled out the last of the tomatoes last week, so there's no more tomatoes out here in the garden. The only tomatoes we have on the farm are those 2 tomato plants inside the high tunnel. But like I said, we cannot complain. But this whole row is empty except the marigolds and the flowers. This row right here has definitely struggled all season long. This was our non-spicy pepper row, and it has struggled, just to put it lightly. You see that our basil is doing fine, our marigolds are doing fine, but the peppers, okay, I think that's a weed, but the peppers just have not produced well, and I have no idea why. So you can see that the peppers on here are very small, and that's how they've been all season long. Again, the basil is doing just dandy, but you can see the peppers are very, very small. They even grow to a big height at all. That's a bigger one there that I've seen, but it's like one at a time. It's never loaded. That one has disease on it. But now I see that this one is bigger. That's the biggest one we've had off of this plant. This one has, I see multiple on there. That's new. You can see that, hold on. You can see that there. We have multiple on there. Again, they're doing better now. But I'm telling you, what you see right here is not what we've had all summer long. Like, there's only been one plant at a time on each of these. But now I see multiple. So we'll just keep working with it. And again, we'll harvest them when they're small, because something is better than nothing. But you can see that overall, the size of these, very small compared to the other ones. This right here is the ahi crystal. It has done just okay. It's a new one to us. It tastes great, but it has done just okay. Not prolific at all. This next row, you can see again, basil just is becoming a tree. But this whole row, the first succession of this was squash and zucchini. Our squash did great. Our zucchini did not. We pulled all of that up. We planted a second succession of squash and zucchini all along here. It got eaten, did not make it whatsoever. So hence we went to the third succession of squash. So all of this was planted a second time, and it just never made it. We had one that made it, and you can see that here. This is a zucchini plant that made it from the second succession. No zucchini, no flowers yet. Oh, we did have a flower, and there's a zucchini forming right there that I just saw. So maybe we'll get some zucchini from that one. Again, we planted bell peppers here. There's one that's tiny. But overall, you can see mostly empty. And then we have 2 squash plants here that are the second succession of the squash. We have some flowers and we have some squash forming there. This row right beside it, this one hurt my heart. This mainly was the purple hull pea row. I love purple hull peas. As you can see, we have pulled them all up. We were able to get some purple hull peas, but not nearly as many as we normally have. They got eaten at the bottom by rabbits. Then they grew up. We were able to get things from the top, but they didn't produce. First time ever. So I'm walking all of this empty space right here. We did have some tomatoes here that we pulled up. That's a cucumber plant that's on the ground. I just see that now. There's a watermelon that's crossed over the row. And then here, we planted these in July, if I'm not mistaken. These are rattlesnake beans. This is our first time planting these. I think we had 6 or 7 that survived. You can see they're starting to bud and flower there. So I'm hoping that we're able to get some. It's my first time trying them. So it'll be interesting to see how many we get and what it looks like. Like I said, we just planted these. It was like, I think in July. It was our second succession of plants that we tried, and these were able to make it. Then, like I told you, we planted more cucumbers out here for our second succession. Oh, I see a cucumber right there that's looking nice and ready to be picked. These, oh my goodness. Oh, these must have been hiding because they're super huge. Super huge. Oh my goodness. Y'all see that there? 1, 2. They literally must have been hiding. I was just about to say, they haven't produced. I've only like gotten 4 so far, but I see 3 that we can get for sure. The last 2 rows. So this row here was again our pollinator row. I don't always do it out here, but I always have one in my raised bed. But since I had the space, this whole row was filled with flowers. We've taken many of them out. You can see the ones that are still here. A lot of them are dying, but it gives the bees something to eat on and chew on and all that stuff. But you can see they look riddled. They didn't look that bad a couple of weeks ago, but now they are starting to look bad. We have some echinacea here that's still looking good, and then we have some celosia. But this whole row, every hole was filled with nothing but beautiful flowers. The next row over was our cantaloupe and watermelon. Y'all, the cantaloupe this year has been absolutely prolific. It has been insane, and they have been very, very good. Our watermelons have been a different story. This is the first year, or the worst year we've had with watermelons since we've been growing watermelons. That looks like a good one right there. Let's see if it's ready. The tendril is brown. It's dull, has a yellow spot. I think this one is ready. This is probably a sugar baby, if I had to guess. So he can come get that one. We have a few more down here. So I see, oh wow, I see 4, 5, or 6 more. And this may seem like a lot, but I'm telling you, y'all, they just started trying to do something. But every one of these that we've harvested have not been great. So we did not even sell watermelons this year, which we normally sell watermelons. We normally grow about 100 watermelons a summer, and we sell a ton of them. We have not sold any this year because the crop has just been very iffy. Some of them have been excellent, but then some of them have not been. Yeah. And I don't know why, but that is the way it goes. That's a big one right there. And how you know if a watermelon's ready? The tendril, the part coming out of the stem, is brown. It has yellow on the bottom, and then the skin turns from shiny to dull. That's how you know they're ready. So y'all, you can see again the garden. We still have some beauty. We still have food. It's just not as much. And y'all, I spot more cucumbers now that I'm on this side right there. I don't know if you can see those cucumbers hanging there. I'm about to go over there and get those cucumbers that I couldn't see on the other side. So we definitely have more cucumbers. Okay, y'all, let me show you what we have so far. So we have this basket is mostly jalapenos, but we also have some okra in there. This basket here, more jalapenos and green beans. And then we have 6 cucumbers that you can see here, plus the stuff that we harvested in there. Plus my husband is still out there harvesting other stuff as well. So this weekly harvest is all right with me. Again, it may not be the way that it was in June with baskets that are, this big, overloaded, but this is still keeping me busy because every week I'm having to preserve this in some way if we're not eating it fresh. So whether that's blanching green beans or whether that is cutting up okra and flash freezing it, making jalapeno salt, like all the things. Oh, little plug for the jalapeno salt. Our jalapeno salt is back. If you did not see the announcement, if you're not on our email list, get on our email list. Go to livingfoodsfarm.com. But our jalapeno salt, if you have never heard of jalapeno salt, but it intrigues you, you need to order some. It is absolutely great. We make it from the jalapenos here in our garden, but you put it on just about anything to give it just a little bit of zest and to zhuzh it up. It tastes so good. Especially my favorites are popcorn and French fries, but you can do chili, collard greens, grits, eggs, meat, like whatever it's gonna taste good on. You just sprinkle a little bit and it just zhuzhes it up a bit. What you bringing back, honey?
Oh, some more jalapenos.
Okay, more jalapenos to add to the bucket. And then I gave you some green beans too. He's emptying his pockets. I guess he didn't have a basket. And then also, did you harvest any cantaloupe?
Yes, 3 cantaloupes and 2 watermelons.
3 cantaloupe and 2 watermelon. Wow. So this weekly harvest is all right. And then he got a couple of small mini bell peppers as well. Plus, like I said, the basket that we have in there. So y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. So the only thing I didn't show you was behind the house, but if you saw my video on the video before this, we were in the back of the house setting up our new GREENSTALK, so you got a chance to kind of see what things were looking like there, and we made a harvest out there. So that space is doing great, and out of all 3 spaces, that one in the back of the house, the smallest space, has performed consistently well all summer long. It has outperformed these two, not in terms of productivity, in terms of volume, but it has been consistent all season long. We've had very little disease and pests back there versus what we've had up here. But y'all, I hope that your gardens are going well. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please click the subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of this community. And remember, y'all, this is all a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.